Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome back. Another episode. This setup is evolving.
Yeah, we've upgraded, haven't we? We're now on film.
Yeah. I feel like we're about to film a porno in here or something.
Oh, my word.
I feel very...
What have I signed up for?
I feel very surveilled.
You get me over here for gaming and then I end up with my pants around my ankles.
The Evening Gamer. Taking steps.
Yeah.
The Evening Gamer. Filming a porno.
I know. When we went to the wedding the other day, one of our mates came up to us and was like, I cannot not hear the Evening Gay Bar now.
He did say that, didn't
yeah,
he?
he did.
That was funny.
Which I like leaving it because I hear it as well. I think it's lols.
We're going to get to 100 episodes of the Evening Gamer and it's still going to be that audio.
And then we'll just rename the podcast the Evening Gay Bar and we'll pivot.
Yeah, that's it. I love that though. You got to stick to your roots. Big fan.
Yeah, I like that little tune at the beginning. What are you playing at the moment? I'm curious.
I've been playing a lot of WuKong.
Yes. Yes.
Tons of Minecraft. I'm loving Minecraft at the minute.
Okay. All right.
It's so good.
Don't know if we'd review that one. I feel like everybody kind of knows. I'm not sure where that would land in the rating
Labelless
system.
Water.
Oh, are we just going to drink ASMR?
Nothing tastes better than not getting sued.
Yeah, look at you, a brandless bottle. If
the best kind.
Anybody works for the marketing of Remedy, by the way, we're still trying to get on a bit of free advertisement. I'm still supportive of the idea of the first company that wants to advertise with us. I know we disagree on this. Give us some coin.
Yeah.
We would give it direct to the listeners.
100%.
Of just like a shout out, write in, sort of what's your favorite episode, or we'll come up with some fucking question, and whichever one we like the most, we'd give the money to, and we'll do a bit of free advertisement for
Until
Remedy.
then, go fuck yourselves.
Well, until then, I'll keep drinking your kombucha.
No
it's
sound
great.
bites. All right. Hey, I shaved my head, so I'm wearing a beanie.
Oh, right. Okay. I was wondering.
Have I seen you since I shaved it?
No, you haven't. Come on, give us a look. Show it to the camera. Oh, my word. No, it looks good.
Now I've got to fucking figure out how to get my beanie back on.
We'll pause the pod. Oh, there we go.
Story with it, right? It's my Naruto beanie as well, so it's topical.
Nice. Okay.
Naruto's
Is that type of porno?
Yeah, that's Far Cloud right there.
What is it? What?
No, that's hentai.
Oh, sorry.
No, Naruto's the arms behind his back running.
Yes, those weird kids did in high school.
Yeah. What? Funny story though. You know what she says to me? So I'm going, and I just thought, I'll fucking just go get it done. Like, I don't have clippers here. I'm not going to make a mess of it myself. Okay. I'll just go get people. Every time you get a buzz cut, people are like, did you do that yourself? It's like, is it bad if I didn't? I go to the barber, man.
Who asked that? I never asked that. Did you do it yourself?
Oh, fucking heaps of people at the wedding. I didn't have it done at the wedding. So not the wedding. Heaps of people have asked me. It doesn't matter. It's erroneous. It's irrelevant.
You walked that back so quick.
No, she goes, you sure you want to go with this haircut? And I was like, yep, absolutely. Like, fully committed to it. Not willing to engage in a conversation about what I'm potentially doing with my hair. Sat in the seat being like, yo, buzz it. Because I had a bit of fringe going. Not a front fringe, but I dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, it's just because, like the spacing between your face, like quite a big forehead. And I was like,
oh,
fuck.
I didn't come here to get roasted. What is this, a barbershop? Relax, lady.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Can't go anywhere.
Jeez.
So yeah, just been rocking about me, my big forehead.
Yeah, fair enough.
Looking forward to recording again. This is
so
nice.
I've been gaming. Thanks for asking.
Have you been gaming?
WuKong, which we are reviewing today.
We are.
Announcement. And so I dropped it. We'll obviously talk about it a little bit later on. I found myself in a bit of a gaming drop. I think I mentioned it in the last podcast. Tried Metro, tried Prey. Couldn't get on board with those.
I'm surprised you couldn't get on board with Prey.
Well,
I've heard good
think
things.
I think a little bit of persistence on my part, and I'd probably buy back in. I lost love with it. A couple of years ago, did 6 hours, tried it again, maybe put another hour into it. Wasn't holding me, but it's one that I probably just need to commit, devote a bit of time to. But anyway, so remember we reviewed Baldur's Gate back in the day, and I was like,
it's been eyeing me off on Steam, man. Comes up almost every other time. I mean,
it won Game of the Year. It is a fantastic game. So I've relaunched it. Re-downloaded it, started playing from where I was at last time. I haven't started again because I couldn't commit myself to that.
That's fair.
And I generally
it wasn't that long ago that you were playing.
Well, yeah, it was maybe about a year or so ago. I have a general census of where I'm up to, what am I doing, where the storylines are, and I'm back into it and really enjoying it, and it's holding me. So I'm really happy about that. I'm certainly put a fair few hours into it. I think I'm just into Act 2.
Okay.
Having probably 100%ed Act 1.
Wow.
And I mean,
And did you do that before you came back?
No,
or have you since?
so like I've just finished off 100%ing it, the first act alone, and it's a mammoth. It's such a fucking big game.
It's kind of what you want though from a game like that.
Oh yeah, like it's funny though. Like so, we did have a write-in, and they were saying, and we'll get to this later in sort of our last section of games that deserve a sequel. In that, I re-listened to that episode, and one of the things I was talking about back then is taking my time with games a little bit more, and I think previously I often used to consume at a hell of a rate. Like I'm just sort of, if I come up against a puzzle I can't work out within 10 minutes, I'm Googling it just because I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there, or if I'm versing a boss battle and they're pieing me for 4 hours,
I just Google
eventually
the cheese.
I'll just be like, what's the fucking cheese? I'm done with this. I want to move on. I want to know what the end of the story is. But in that episode, I talked about enjoying it a little bit more because these good games, they're few and far between, and I think we are born of an era in the 90s where we had such a plethora of great games that we could just rip through. The Halo franchise, you could list any number of the ones of that golden era that we lived through and we grew up with, and why we got into gaming.
Of course.
Now, you've got games coming out left, right, and center that are just missing the mark, and not quite capturing the audience that they previously did. And we as a consumer are sort of almost quick to consume it, move on, and either write it off or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I feel this for having dropped Black Myth, that, eventually I feel like I might come back to it a little bit, but that's exactly what I've done with Baldur's Gate, which is the point of why I'm saying this. If I've gone back to it, re-picked it up, really enjoying it, so I might do a re-review at some point, listen to that episode and kind of go, where did I go wrong, and update it. And the other game I've been playing is Resident Evil 4 with the missus.
Big fan of the Resident Evil.
She's been watching me play it. Resident Evil 4 I never played back in the day when it was sort of first released. This is the new done version.
Have they gone back to over the shoulder, or is it first person?
They've gone over the shoulder.
They've gone back to over the shoulder.
Third person, but the original one was the camera in the corner. Yeah. And you'd see them like running corridors and shit. And it's like, I can't believe that game did as well as it did with that kind of shot though. Like that's such a unique camera angle to do a video game.
It's the time it was. Like it's the same with the first Tomb Raider, or one of the first Tomb Raiders that came out on PS2. It was the same. Like the camera angles constantly shift. Very channeled. Yeah. You felt like you'd be running down a hallway, and then all of a sudden it cuts to like in a cupboard, and you run past the cupboard and you're like, wait, what? Yeah. So it's just the time that they came out. That's what people were experimenting with. That's what developers are using.
Yeah.
But it's so wacky to think about it now.
To do a modern day version and now do it third person, like it plays really clean, really fun to play. Like the storyline is a bit. You're saving the president's daughter, and you're in a village somewhere in, I don't know, South America, I think it might be. All the villages have been infected with this parasite and are basically zombies in one way or another. And I've no idea why the president's daughter is hanging out in this fucking town in the first place. Or she got kidnapped, taken there.
Thicken that plot.
Well, it's thin, and you play a CIA agent. I think this sort of the wherever he's from, to go in and rescue her. And you sort of have a mic or whatever, and it comes through the controller, which is a unique thing the PS5 often does. The audio cues.
I don't think they nailed it though.
Well,
it often sounds like fucky as shit.
It kind of the first time you hear it, you're like, oh well, like the audio is pulling through the controller. But he calls in and he's like, what's his title? Like Condor's trying to find Baby Eagle, and save the president's daughter and blah blah blah.
You're just going call signs right now.
And and you're just like, where is the fucking military? If this chick has been like, kidnapped and taken to South America, any president in their right mind would be deploying the full might of the military masses of America.
It'd be martial law.
They would just be, the Marines would be flying in left, right, and center, and they'd take full control of the country, I'm sure. If it's South America, and, they've tried to topple governments there for a while now, they would do something about it.
Yeah, they 100% would.
You're just one guy. And there's a section where it's like, oh, you've got her. She's walking around with you. And they're like, we can't fly the helicopter in because it's bad weather. Like, can you hold up shop somewhere? And you're like, seriously?
You're just like, you're shooting just dozens of zombies.
Come on.
They're not willing to fucking...
You're murdering an entire village. Like, these poor villagers have been, parasitically, turned to zombies. And you think that might be the time to start taking some risks. Well, exactly. I know. And there's a certain part where you you're in this section, you get to a village, and there's like all these weird people like walking around. You start sneaking through, and then there's just one woman off to one side, and she's got like a hay, like trident or whatever they call it. She's turning hay over. You just go up and knife her in the head, and you're like, was she a zombie? Like, I didn't check a fucking pulse first. Like,
is that a cutscene, or are you doing that?
I'm doing that. I'm just sneaking in, and I see this lady, and her back's turned to me, and I just go up and it's like R2, and you just like garrot her. Like,
I love that. I love those intrusive thoughts when they come into gaming.
Yeah.
Like walking down the pier in GTA 5. Like best example, because everyone's just minding their own business on the pier. There's no traffic. Just walking down, and just all of a sudden, just someone that you see, you're just like, they're fucking gonna get it.
just Spartan kick them off the pier.
Don't like the outfit, dick. You just start
clipped into me, get gone.
I think that most RPG games. I know this can't be consistent across gaming, but most RPG games, I think, flow best from third person or over the shoulder, if not both. Like, that's what I really struggled with when it came to Cyberpunk. Is that it really kind of shocked my system of like having a game that I really needed to know the environment, especially if I was going stealth or I needed to keep an eye out on loot. It really kind of shocked me to be first person. Maybe shock's not the right word, but it threw me a bit. I was kind of like, I don't know. It's like the FOV that you have, the frontal,
POV,
the POV.
I know what you mean, because Dying Light has the same thing of that your hands are almost in shot. You're climbing up, like parkouring through things. I don't think they've nailed the cleanliness of it, the smoothness of it. Like, you kind of compare that to over shoulder parkour of Assassin's Creed. They'd eventually perfected it. You felt really clean moving the rooftops and climbing up, climbing down. Like, I just think first person sometimes, if it's not a shooter, well, I wouldn't do it.
That's the thing. Like, FPS needs to be first person.
Because Cyberpunk's a shooter,
It is, but there's a heavy loot exploration element to it. Yeah. It's not just impending danger like it is in an FPS. An FPS, you need to be first person because you need to be in the driver's seat. It's kind of like, if you're good at racing games, you don't want to be... Like, if you're playing a GTA and you're just driving, fine. But if you're actually playing like a racing game like a Forza or an F1, you want to be as close to the cockpit as possible.
Yeah, true.
Because that's when you can see the corners easy. It's the same thing in FPS. You want to be in the driver's seat, first person works. But for me, like RPGs, I just prefer to be able to like look 360 around me with the twin stick, kind of.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just can't quite put my finger on why I don't like it, but there's just a missing link for me.
It just throws me, like, not having the right like width to what I can see. I don't know. True. And you find yourself in small areas in third person games, like small rooms. You need to look around. That doesn't really work well in FPS. Anyway. What were we talking about? That was a tangent.
Yeah, that was a big tangent. We're talking about WuKong, was sort of the game we're reviewing today. You've made it further along than I have, significantly so. In the last pod, I mentioned I dropped it. So I feel like you're going to do the key details and the rating specifically, and I'll throw in some 2 cents here and there. So... action role-playing game, released 2024. Game Science is the developer and the publisher. Yep. And this is sort of, I think, their big foray into the gaming world with a AAA title. Yeah. And, obviously, everybody's heard about it. I think it did really well in sales. I think the reviews were relatively glowing, and obviously you and I, having played it, I think we've got some similar thoughts on it.
Yeah. I think so, and thank you so much for covering the research element of that, because I did fucking none of that. We also mentioned this was a big headliner for me when we did the games that we're looking forward to this year. I think it was in Showcase. It was definitely part of our episode that we did early on in the podcast.
We're looking forward to it.
Saying that we're waiting for this. Still got to play through a few of those games, but look, this was one that I was anticipating because it was definitely positioned as something that was following Sekiro. Yeah. That was potentially following WoLong. And look, WoLong was far from a complete game, but still rather enjoyable. So before I get into the ratings here, I do want to say that this was an enjoyable game. I found it easy to play, probably 40 plus hours. But I think in terms of how we categorize games and how we rate them, it falls down in a few pillars that I definitely want to discuss. And the first one, and a perfect place to kick it off, is the storyline. Yeah. This is a game that Game Science, to me, it felt like they had an idea of what they wanted the end of the game to be. Yeah. or the overall kind of conquering the gods. Like that's where they started as their starting point, and they reverse engineered the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And like what happens when you do that, and it's so evident in this game, is that you kind of end up with this narrative that doesn't make sense. As the player, you're introduced to people that you have no idea what role they play or the level of importance. You don't know what upgrades they're really going to help you with. Like you had to, I think in the first area as well, the forest area, you had to go and seek out where you upgraded your goard. It's not like someone sent you there and was like, hey, go see my colleague.
Yeah, true.
You know, and like you just come across this random other monkey sitting kind of down a half cave.
Yeah, it's like
and you're like, hey, what do you do? Who are you?
Yeah.
No idea who he is. Yeah. No idea why he's there.
Yeah.
Oh, but he has more powers than you in terms of upgrading your heals. And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Like, and just from there, the storyline it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's very mundane. It's very kind of streamlined, I suppose, and rather placid in terms of that it's just gods hate you.
Yeah.
You know, there was a legend that came before you that's now disappeared. They allude to the fact he might be dead or that he's not throughout the entire story. But really, just go and kill all the gods that killed him, banished him, and like, let's reclaim our status on this mountain. That's fucking it.
So like, I mean, I don't know Journey to the West story. I haven't read the book. I haven't read through Wikipedia, you know, and the odd thing, you know, Wikipedia, great research thing. Reading the Wikipedia page on this, like it had more story than the actual video game did. Like it's giving the lore of what this game's about. And it does have a lore section in the game of all the various monsters you're coming up against. But, you know, when we mentioned this in the last podcast, I directly compared it to God of War of a character fighting the gods, you know, and obviously the mythological gods of that world, Asgard and so, you know, what is it? The Spartan, whatever it is, are far more well known. You know, numerous movies about it, all the rest of it. So it is Western culture.
Oh yeah, agreed.
You know, European,
whatever Hollywood has dug its claws into, we know more about.
There's been a bunch of movies. So, you know, for this one, direct parallels of it, I don't know the gods. You know, like I don't, you know, it was sort of the baseline. You've got Buddha, you know, sort of a few headed dragons, like, you know, I don't know, like I haven't grown up on those stories, like, but you'd think the game would give you the lore, the detail of who these people are, what's their relationships like, you know, how it kind of works together. And it's also missing that inner motivation. Like the new God of War games, the most recent two, he's got that relationship with his son and how is the mother, who the mother is in the grand scheme of things. Like it's layered. It's the character development fantastic over the course of those games. In this one, like, the monkey doesn't talk, I think.
No,
you know,
not
like,
a word.
It's and like,
which is so typical of our protagonists, but still, it's not done that well.
Often they do this thing of the protagonist not talking, you know, and that's sort of a part of their personality and they're stoic or whatever it might be. But I don't know. It's just, it just could have been done better. To be blunt, it could have been done better. In my humble opinion of just
completely agree.
Explain the story better.
I think they were aware of that, which is why the first scene is you
fighting
as the legend of WuKong
Myth. And there's
because you don't play
as
WuKong Myth. That's an important part of it. You don't play as him. You actually play as just a student of where he came from, of like the same sensei. And they go, this one's special. Let's send him out to do the whole conquest,
journey,
right? So you don't actually play as him. But then I hate games that introduce me to what the game is going to be like at the end, meaning all of the abilities. It's kind of like, imagine Game of Thrones, and the first episode, you had a glimpse of seeing Daenerys on her dragons, fireball, and the whole thing. It's like, I'm actually not here for the end result, I'm here for the arc.
Well, it's one of those classic English, like an English teacher would fap on this and go like, you know, it's so clever of going like, you see the ending and then you go, how did you get there? But you're just like, have we not developed, you know, more at this point in time? Like it's paint by numbers sort of stuff.
I hate it. And then all of a sudden, and then what happens as a gamer is within the first hour of gameplay, you got a storyline. Where's the conflict come from? Firstly, I don't really understand. I don't understand why he's having this fight with the gods. That was never explained. But also, as a gamer, you've now given me everything and taken it all away. Within the first hour. And so now my fingers are now trying to do things that they can't do anymore. I don't know where I'm going to get those upgrades. I'm just kind of lost now. Whereas like you put it directly beside Sekiro, where it's like you just wake up in a cave, your sword's broken, you've clearly been captured. Let's go find out the storyline. That's a much better way to introduce me to a story.
I think you're right.
This is
you're
where
on the money.
My story begins. Yeah.
What is the character's motivation? Why does he not like these gods beyond just the guy getting turned to stone or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm just sort of I agree with you. So storyline, I think we agree low.
I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
And
I'd agree with that.
We harp on about storyline a little bit, but only because
it's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, it's
arguably.
100% for you. Now, look, I'm not indifferent, but I've come to love it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think we can get any gamer to agree with us that the best stories have the best storylines. Sorry, the best games have the best storylines.
Yeah.
Like Arthur Morgan's character arc, what he goes through. We regard Red Dead Redemption 2 as one of the best games of the decade.
It's for me.
That's
it's like
why.
the tent pole. It's the tent pole of going the most core thing you can nail. If you have a good story, and then if your game mechanics are good, all the other pillars that we basically have outlined, come almost underneath and hold that up. But if that missing tent pole's gone, like what happened with this game with me, my motivation waned eventually. And I was just running through forests, having the same fight, using the same sort of skill sets against differing bosses, which kept me engaged for a good period of chunk of it to get to, I think I was Act 3 by the time I was like, can't do this anymore, and tapped out and said I'd rather play something else.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on this with character dev and build, but I'll do it now in storyline. Also, the storyline helps me, especially with that motivation piece. Like in Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, coming up against Mesmer, the reason I did that suffering, the reason I put in so much effort was because it was tantalizing the whole time.
Right.
Like the whole time NPCs and people you came into contact with is like, oh, he's very powerful, kind of like taunting you with the fact that you're not going to be able to do it. And then you get in there, excuse me, and then you get in there and he taunts you even more.
Right.
Like, peasant, never going to be able to beat me, you're weak. And you kind of just like, oh, I know why I'm here. I know why I have to kill you. I know why, by the foundation build of my character, why it goes against your power. And I'm going to do now everything I can to enjoy this fucking battle and make it as fun as I can. Fair. And there's just none of that in WuKong. So 5 out of 10.
Okay.
The next, as you can tell, I've thought about that for a while because the same thing for me, man, with the motivation's waning.
Yeah.
However,
field mechanics.
Well, I think they did this well.
Yeah.
Just straight off the bat. I think they did this very well. But I'll also premise that by saying, or not premise it, but put it directly beside saying they needed to.
Yeah.
Because this is a game that's very linear. It's a game that actually doesn't encapsulate a lot of different combat types. There's very few from distance, apart from your staff stance.
Yeah, you got the 3 staff stances, and then obviously the skill tree, and you can switch them out, and what you can turn into. Like there is a version. There is various builds that you could play this game through. And we were discussing it, and you played it a slightly different way that I played it.
Absolutely, but like they needed fluid feel and mechanics when it came to close combat, because there really is no way to close distance in this game. There's very little way. You have to sprint up to your enemy. You have to hit them a handful of times. You've got one ability, which is called the shadow step, which is where you kind of thrust
that'd
forward
be the only one
bit.
where you can move quickly.
But outside of that, there's really no other way to close distance. Again, you have the different staff stance. So you have a thrust.
Yeah.
You have the pole staff stance where you can stand up maybe 10 feet.
Yeah.
Then you've got the other one, which is
just...
The other one is the thrust and the other one's a slam, sorry.
Yeah.
But you've got kind of those main 3. Outside of that, no throwables. There's no throwing knives. There's no, you can't really craft anything. So when you make it a single lane like that, the mechanics have to be good. And they were.
They were good. Yeah.
The dodging was good. I'm a huge fan of having deflect or a parry. Fine. It's not in this game. No worries. You can use the stone ability. Wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah. I think that was the thing of just there was a range of abilities, but quite quickly you determine your play style and you're really locked into that play style.
Absolutely.
And I think some of those skill sets were overpowered. So I didn't use the stone ability. I used the various monkeys would jump out. You'd have 5 or 6 guys come with you. Yeah. Which was good. A few many or something it was called. And then the shadow step was one of them. And then the freeze them. Yeah. The freeze with them one is, overpowered to very well.
It is overpowered. I did like it how they, made it taper off quicker against heavier enemies. So if you did it on a main boss, it lasts 2 seconds. If you did it on just a peasant, a grunt, that's in your way, it would last 10 seconds. So there was some consideration.
And
there.
I did like the fact that it wasn't a huge cost to respec. You could do that really easily.
I did like that as well.
I liked that. That was good.
I was a big fan of that as well. In fact, it came such a surprise to me. I accidentally did it the first time. I was like, oh, what's this command? Oh, now I need to like. Yeah. So it was super easy. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely a few bosses where I was getting pied a fair bit and had to have a sit down and think, what is the best build to take on this one? And did a full respec, and then of course you have a delay of learning the new setup that you're running with. But yeah, like it's. I think feel mechanics, I agree with you, is high for me.
Yeah, it was very fluid. The movement was good. The dodging wasn't easy, wasn't too difficult.
Yeah.
And what I liked is that you could dodge moves without having to do a perfect dodge. So, you could dodge and get out of the way, fine, you just carry on. But if you did a perfect dodge, it kind of slowed everything down, it powered you up.
And left it, so you could level it up to a point where it left a fake you there and it would burst and do a little bit of damage, which I like that.
Yeah, and I also think that feeds directly into challenge and entertainment. But just in terms of field mechanics, like, there was always a new thing to do as long as you managed your stamina and your mana, which is your magic.
Yeah.
As long as you manage that, you could be really it kind of to me felt like I was boxing. Like, am I gonna uppercut now, jab? Am I gonna slip? Am I gonna do a bit of footwork? Like, that's how combat felt in Wukong.
Yeah.
Very kind of simplistic, but really quite a good range given how few things there were going on.
Eventually I realized that like the key to the game would be any boss battle you went up against, take them on head to head, just without any skills, any sort of your powers, whittle their health down as far as you possibly can, and as soon as he starts getting tired or he gets a second phase, just smash him with every skill set you've got.
Yeah.
And by and large, I started clearing bosses a lot faster when I started doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because at the first, you'd sort of feel like, I'm going to run in, hit him with this skill, and then wait a little bit, hit him with this skill. But you kind of know if you're on a good run, if you get their health halfway there and you've got full mana, and then you're off to the races.
And I would save my transformations as well, like that as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm getting low on heals here. My gourd's getting low. I've still got a bit to go on this boss.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till I get to a tick of health, and then I'm going to use that transformation because I get full health in that transformation. And then
I did find it interesting that there was like the two different transformations. There was the one that you could fully change into and be that for a period of time. And then there's the other one that was like a quick one move transformation.
Yeah. So they end up being a number of both. The more
there's
enemies,
tons. Yeah. I mean, I went deep on both of them, but I was like, why do it that way of a single moveset? Why didn't you just have all of them be people that you could turn into?
I think you're getting confused between the transformations and one of the attacking. It was like
you click down the thingy, and mine was the headbutt move that you get.
Yes, and how good was the headbutt? It
was a good move.
So that was technically transformation, but that was a spell. So that typically was just one move.
I don't understand why they did it that way. Yeah. Like, I felt like, why not make all of them transformations?
I think just
make
for
them all that, I don't
sheer
know.
variety. And also, that spell didn't cost mana. You actually built that up through focus. And it took a while depending on how strong it was. But the headbutt one, I just maxed that out. And it actually became really
so
useful.
Good.
So field mechanics high for me. I gave it an 8.5.
8.5, agreed.
Challenge and entertainment. Now, I've marked this with consideration. I've marked this not as subjectively as I would. I've kind of marked challenge and entertainment from what the game has to offer in the genre that it's in.
Yeah.
And I want to come back to a point that you said before, which was like, once I figured it out, I kind of got through a few bosses for the time. Now that directly impacts the challenge and entertainment that you feel as a gamer. Yeah. And I agree with you. I've never had a game where I've beaten the boss on the first go as often as I did in Wukong.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And I think that, but I don't necessarily want to mark it down on that, because I think that's actually kind of a satisfying thing, is that you figure out the combat, you figure out what works, and you're just strong. It's good sometimes as the gamer when you put in these upgrades to not constantly be fucking running up the hill, to not constantly be like, why am I upskilling if everything's just scaling with me?
True.
So it was actually refreshing at times to have a boss in Wukong, whether it was side boss or a main boss, where you could do the spider area boss, beat her in the first go. Beat her in the first go. Yeah. And it was
tapped out before that.
Yeah, and granted, it was a tick of health by the end because I got quite unlucky with the timing of a few of my attacks towards the end of it. But it was the first go.
Yeah.
And it was kind of refreshing to be like, you know what? I executed that well. I used my spells well. I healed well. I dodged well. So I should have won the fight.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And it actually was refreshing to not have that Elden Ring thing of like, doesn't matter what it is, the first 10 times, you're just going to get shit on.
Yeah.
So I think it actually navigated that pretty well. it gave you challenge, and then it gave you entertainment.
Yeah, I've got that down as like the variety of the bosses, you know, and the what they kind of, as you're playing through the game, how they get harder and harder, you know, and you sort of, there's parts where you're like, in that first act 1, you're roaming through and you find that headbutt guy just walking around and you're like, oh shit, like he's quite a fair bit bigger. And then in the snowy act 3, I think it is, there's sort of another guy that kind of looks like him but is like 5 times as big. And you're like, holy shit, you know, this is like the fire giant level scale in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get to a boss in that sort of snowy section and it's a flying dragon. And you're like, you haven't versed anybody flying yet. I can't fly. Like, how the hell am I going to verse this dude?
Yeah.
You know, and I did find that as a really good entertainment piece of it, of going, who is the next boss? And I think that probably should score it up a fair bit.
Who is the next boss? But not only that, what's the next enemy build? It kept you on your toes. It really did. And it did the thing well of like small doesn't necessarily mean not powerful. Like some of those frogs that like you'd have frogs that would jump around and like that would be a huge nuisance.
Oh yeah, the big frogs. Yeah. There was one, I remember the lightning one, I think I struggled with a fair bit in that red sandy area.
Yeah, and I also think that from an entertainment piece, whilst I don't think they filled the space as good as a game of like Sekiro. Like every nook and cranny in Sekiro that you found something, there was discovery. I don't think they did that as well. But there still were a lot of options for bosses that you had to go off the beaten path to find. And you were like, I haven't gone over there yet. I wonder what's there. And it's a frog boss. And it gives you a spell and it gives you some resource, gives you some loot. Very well done.
I think so too. I mean, in loot and extras, you know, not jumping ahead, hidden section, bosses, secrets, I think it is a good part of the game. It did that really well.
Yeah, definitely. So I gave Challenge and Entertainment a 7. If I was to mark this more subjectively, just based on my own experience with the game, having played a lot of these games, I probably would have gone a little bit lower. But I've given it some considerations for how well it did some really key things that I wouldn't say it's a roguelike, but that need to be there for a linear game like this. So
yeah, fair. I mean, a 7's probably, I agree with you. Like, I was going to nitpick with you, but like, you know, I've stopped playing it, so, you know, I wasn't entertained that much. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think from the entertainment perspective, the reason why you probably put it down is it does get a little repetitive, and the buy-in from you as the gamer and the motivations to continue going at some of these bosses do fall away a little bit.
It's a weird one. Like, it's, you know, some, like with Elden Ring, I think there were certain parts where I was like, why am I doing this to myself? You know, it's been 20 hours on this one boss
territory.
And it's, you know, and I'm like, you know, you like, as you said before, there was an element of I need to do this for myself to beat this game.
Yeah.
You know, and funnily enough, I bought the DLC, played it for 2 hours, and I don't think I'll ever go back to it.
That makes me so sad, because Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Oak Tree got me. Well,
you got all the way to the boss, but did you finish it? Because I remember you saying to me, you were like, nah.
This is a conversation for another time.
Okay, all right. Well, we should do an Elden Ring episode. We should get Kyle on and we'll do it.
Yeah,
we'll do an Elden Ring and a DLC one. We've had a write-in of people saying we need to do an Elden Ring.
Yeah, it deserves its time in the sun.
What were we going to say? Where are we up to with this? Character dev build. So I've just got, look, it's one-dimensional in terms of the character development, you know, of just this guy gets stronger over the game versus bosses.
And he doesn't.
A lot more than that.
There's no like attachment to the storyline for him either. It really just seems like the whole there's bad things happen to this monkey, and he just goes, oh, fuck it. Yeah, and you're kind of like, okay.
I know. Every cutscene, I'm watching it.
I don't know.
Yeah, every cutscene, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, bring me in, persuade me, get me on board for this. And I just, every time I'd be like, so why am I doing, who is this in the scheme of things? Why have I got to fight this girl now? She seemed friendly, I guess, but no, now I'm beating her to death. I don't get it.
Like, you put that beside the Master Chief in a few cutscenes where he sizes people up and you go, I'm playing that dude.
Yeah.
And like for this, the monkey's just like,
yeah. I mean,
like,
it's
all right, well,
it's such a tester of going, if you ever play a game, you're working your way through it and you get to a cutscene. You start watching the cutscene and you don't realize you're doing this, but your hand just reaches for the phone.
Yes.
And you just sort of like, you know,
screens in front of screens.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, you've lost me. Like, and I found myself doing that a lot with
I found myself doing that a lot with WuKong as well. In fact,
Weird.
yeah, even the cartoon, and I guess this has to do with character dev.
Oh, the map,
the little animes between the stages, between the chapters, they went for a couple of minutes each.
Yeah, they did.
And I just found myself just going, like head of a newborn baby. Like I just can't keep my head up. Like,
move the camera around and look at this section of the map. Look at this thing, and you're just like, you're giving me nothing. I'm like, can I skip this part? Like,
why am I watching this? Just like slowly, my hand and my phone come up in front of me, and this is between me and the screen. You're just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like character development, pretty much non-existent. Like much of a non-event. A lot happens to him, but at the same time, he doesn't seem to develop as a protagonist from it. The build, however, pretty good.
Yeah, I've got it as okay. There's variety there.
It starts very slow. The WuKong starts very slow, and you actually don't realize the power of the build maybe until chapter 4, when you get to go to a place like the round table that in Elden Ring, like which a lot of these games have, that hub where it's like I can go back.
Have you gotten the hub in WuKong?
Yeah, I've gotten to the hub.
Like, you know how with the hub, I think we kind of talked about it before with a lot of those hidden merchants. With the hub, it's like you go find a dude and he says something about bring me a potion or something.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back like 4 stages, get the potion and bring it to him. And if you're not like on it, paying attention and fully engaged where that potion is, you could play that game and never get the hub. Yeah. And you just be going back to where you found them, not putting them all together. And only when you put them all together does the armorer turn up, you know, who can upgrade your armor and your weapons. Yeah. You know, you're just like that whole section I never would have known about.
Absolutely.
And I had to Google it, you know, because I kept seeing like, I was like, how do I upgrade? I kept getting resources to upgrade my armor. And I was like, where do I do this? Like, I'm pretty far into the game now and I don't know.
Well, you can upgrade your armor from the incenses, but only it's very caged.
Oh yeah, it's like that linear pathway. Whereas this is like a full use resources and all the stats go up.
But like even when you get to the hub, you're like, I've played 50% of this game.
Yeah.
Why am I just getting in now?
Yeah, and you can cultivate like plants in there if you find the right things and give it to that dragon. Like,
yeah, it seemed like a really throwaway attempt to keep it interesting for me. It's like, all right, instead of just next chapter, let's give them this random thing, you know, to keep it interesting. And then all of a sudden, the world opens up a bit more. You can plant seeds, you can craft things,
it's
kind of just like. But this is a key part of the game. Otherwise, I've just been running through linear levels the whole time. Like, I think
it's like a real challenge for a game where it goes, we want to put all these secrets into it. We want to put all these nooks and crannies and like, you know, for the completionist like me, this game has all the hallmarks of a game that I should really like. You know, it's not insanely difficult. It's got, you know, the completionist element of it are there of I'm going to upgrade all my stuff and max out my skill tree and all the things I enjoy out of gaming and check every corner of every fucking map. But the storyline lost me, and that was, you know, the crux of it, really.
While we're still on build, I'll wrap it up. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 on build, character dev and build. Look, there is armor that is exclusive that you need to complete certain short side quests to get. You're going to need... There is some decision making to be done in terms of the autonomy that's given to the gamer. Like, you only get a handful of like gold tree saplings, right? And you need to, am I going to spend that on this armor or this armor? Like, I need to make a choice. So your character can look rather different to someone else's. I think that the upgrades were rolled out pretty well. You level up, you get to add to your foundations, add to the strength of your stances. So this was all done pretty well. I think that really saves this category.
Yeah, I agree. Loot and extras I liked. It was loot and extras feel mechanics were the two top ones for me.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty good. I gave it a 6.5 because I think I could have done a lot better in some areas. But
I would have probably gone a little bit higher on that one, like because of the level of detail and the complexity. Like I was reading that.
Just talking about it, I'm actually happy to.
I just like, you know,
I think I was a bit harsh.
I couldn't really fault this area too much.
Give it 7.2,
despite the fact of it not giving the hand holding. And I think that was kind of what I was talking about before of it. I think they were really conflicted with, we want to make this game intricate and detailed and interesting to explore, but in some parts they overdid it. Like there's a whole part, I don't know if you found this, in the snowy section, you can fall off a whole part. There's a waypoint down there. And there's nothing else in there. There's nothing else in there until you finish the game. Then you go back there and you can then like reverse some of the bosses and they're all leveled up or something like that. And it's like, you know, I guess for those, not speed runners or something, but like those people who really enjoy finding the secrets of a game, you know, you often see these articles on these gaming websites of going like, oh, someone in GTA 5 just figured out a secret that's been there that no one's worked out for like 10 years. And you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like,
yeah, but there needs to be more going on in a game than just what's going on in WuKong. There needs to be more than just making your way through an area and killing a boss to incentivize players to explore that much. And there just isn't. Yeah,
it's storytelling 101. And I'm sure Journey to the West is a super interesting read. You know, you wouldn't have made a video game out of it if it wasn't. And one day maybe I'll read it. Who knows? But the simplicity of storytelling, you know, is obviously incredibly difficult to get right. You know, how many movies get released every year that get panned on IMDb and no one ever goes, watches it and bombs at the box office, or TV shows.
Exactly.
But some of the core tenets of storytelling is, what is the challenge to the protagonist? You know, it's introduction, it's the challenge, and then it's the solution. And you almost break it down by acts. You know, every time you watch an action film, you've got John McClane, you know, sort of introduction. Why is he there? Who's he with? Who's his relationships with? Bad guys are introduced. Then it's one man, broken feet, glassed up feet, no weapons, you know, hidden in a building, going, he's against the odds. You don't think he's going to make it. And then Hans Gruber falls off the fucking building. And you're like, you know, let's go, you know.
Yeah, exactly right. And I heard Guy Ritchie talk about it once, which is like, people love the narrative, and it doesn't have to be a bloke that goes on this story, but or this arc or character arc, but essentially the story of the prodigal son.
Right.
Banished, exiled, nothing to go for, has to find himself, go on the journey, you know, learn the ways, come back. He has a coming of age, he conquers it. That's the, you know, and it was such an abysmal attempt at that in this game. But anyway, I've upped it to 7.2.
Okay, all right.
Lewd and extras.
I think we've covered it. We did that.
Yeah, we've kind of encapsulated. The one thing I did want to say is that there were some nice surprises. There were, you know, in each area there were meditation spots and extras that you could find like that. But there was also an NPC you'd find somewhere. One of them needed fire, so you built a ring of fire around him, and he'd give you a clue to something. Yeah. There was another in the snowy area as well, where you came across a person that was wearing like a fox scarf, and you could transform into a fox and complete their little side quest. So outside of the builds and the armor and the loots, there were some extra moments in there that were okay, but
it
not
follows the Elden Ring storytelling of not hand-holding. That, you know, you meet these NPCs, they make a mention of this and that, and you kind of have to work it out yourself. Like, you know, as opposed to almost the Assassin's Creed, on your mini map, you have a line directly to the doorstep of the person you've got to kill or meet or whatever it is, and you just feel eventually like, I'm a glorified delivery boy,
just an errand boy.
Yeah, an errand boy for this kind of situation. So I do like that, but there comes a point where my patience wanes, and maybe it's the generation of gamer we've come from. If that's what we've grown up knowing, that there is an element of, you know, this is how you do it. But it's like, there's something about it where it's like, if I finish a game or get close to finishing a game and I've missed numerous side quests, and this is what I'm facing with Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment, super easy to sidestep moments, entire areas, entire chapters, you know, and like each person companion that comes with you on the journey has a story and a quest that you have to go on to sort of help them or whatever it might be. So it's super easy to finish the game and go, I didn't see everything, you know, and there's an element of me going, if I'm going to drop $100 on a game, I kind of want to get my money's worth. And yet I'm saying that in conflict to the hand-holding element of my patience wanes, and I just go, tell me where the fuck to go next.
Yeah. What's weird though is that I found quest location and what to do next in Elden Ring easier than in this, because in this you just don't even know it exists. At least in Elden Ring, you go to the round table, you speak to Corrin, the priest, and he says, hey, I'm doing this thing. Yeah. You know, and he mentions the thing to you and you go, oh, okay, you're doing a thing. And then when you go back and he's not there, and then you find him out in the realm again, you go, oh, that's right, he fucking told me he was doing a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go and speak to him. You know, there's no, like, there's no hand holding, but it's still at least like start and finish. Where in this game, it's just kind of like you're just walking and then all of a sudden there's like an E to interact and you're like, okay, I'll interact. And it's just this thing you never knew about. Yeah. And it's like, hey, you want to do this thing? And you're like, okay.
So like in Elden Ring, I had the bad ending. There's
no bad ending in Elden Ring.
No, like where the whole tree gets lit on fire and burns down. Have you had that ending? So, there's a section.
But you like the tree on fire anyway.
Well,
that's how you get over there from the.
Well, this is where you go crazy. Like,
right.
You drop down that whole cavern. There's all these like what are they called, like coffins sticking out, and you have to jump across them all. You hit the ground and then go in, and then there's a hand there, and the hand then corrupts you or something, and it gives you the bad ending. Like there's like, if you read up, there's 3 endings.
Wow.
This was
more
the bad
than 3.
Well, yeah, I think
but
3 of the top liners or something. Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing, and I fell down there and was like, oh, something's got to be down there. I'm in a dungeon. There's always something down there. It's going to be a cool weapon. Drop down, blah 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 blah. Go see the guy. And we've talked about this before. I always play my first run through on any game as the good guy, fucking nice guy, fucking befriend everybody. Oh, you're sick, I'll help you. Here's some medicine, whatever else it is. Just because I don't know what it is.
Such a fucking shit way to play a game.
Well, there's plenty of people like it, but then it's the second playthrough where it's like, what can you do wrong and manipulate what happens when you do the bad things? And some games do it fantastically, but there's other games like this where you stumble into, oh, I've lit the world on fire. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And there's me feeling guilty for all the fucking NPCs I've just killed. Like, I don't know.
For me, my first run through, I always do it based on what I would do. Like if I was if I was there. Like if I haven't vibed well with an NPC, like the dung eater.
Just pop
the dung eater in Elden Ring, I was like, nah, man, you're not taking over the world, because like his story is awful about what he talks about doing to people.
Yeah, I remember.
And so like, I don't
story.
choose a particular path based on the ending I want. I just do.
Well, yeah.
I just do what I'd do case by case and see where I land.
But I mean, my difference would be, I think I did help the dung eater to the nth degree. I don't, and then you eventually fight him, I think, and kill him. I'm pretty sure, or something. You meet him later on.
I mean, you fight any NPC in Elden Ring that where you don't finish their character arc, or you end it early.
I don't know. I guess
the game wants to give you.
So this is where we are different. Of going, when you come to those conversations and it's got the wheel of or the options, the right thing to do, whatever, some middle one, and then the wrong thing to do. If you actually don't like the NPC, you'll be like, no, fuck you. Yeah. Whereas I'll be like, what is the ramifications of this? And if I tick the good option, there's a likely because there's so many games. Tell me the game where you play the bad guy and you're supposed to pick the bad option every time. Because so many of these games, when you get to the end and you kind of tally up the extra weapons, the extra loot, the extra money, it's always the fucking good guy. It's always the good guy.
Except for Fable. You get some boss shit in Fable.
You do get some,
but then around pillaging.
You got the horns, and you get corrupted, all the rest of it.
You really become a demon in that game.
You do.
Pillaging serves you, and
but I think even in that game there was elements of going, you'd make more money if you were the good guy. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
I just want the game where it's like you can be, a sort of.
There's always sacrifices.
Prototype, I reckon, is one where being a bad or not being bad, there's not really decisions in that one, but you just kill people at will, I think, from memory. Anyway.
There's a game we played recently where it actually gives you like it gives you like, what's the fucking word for it? Like
let's just pause as we watch Taylor's gears turn.
Maybe it was... fuck it. Anyway. To me another time.
Okay.
Anyway.
So the overall score for Black Myth is...
6.94.
6.94, which...
I think is fair.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's fair. Like,
we've gone to 2 decimal places. Where is it in the scheme of things?
It comes in... it comes in above Wolong. Wolong at 6.3 and Need for Speed at 7.2. Drastically different games.
Very different game.
But for reference, Dragon's Dogma came in at 7.34. So it's lower than Dragon's Dogma and above Wolong. I think that's fair categorization, to be fair.
I feel really bad hearing that Need for Speed's above it. I almost want to go back and listen to that.
Need for Speed's the bay.
Yeah, but did I give it extra points for a good soundtrack?
Fucking a game's a game, man.
Yeah, I know.
If it does what it does well. Pretty sure we kicked off the Need for Speed episode, you being like, there's no storyline whatsoever. So it must have been pretty good in the other categories. God, the Evening Gamer.
Yeah, maybe we have to redo some reviews. We've had a write-in.
We have had a write-in.
We have had a write-in, which is game sequels. And we have touched on this some time ago, but we didn't really spend too much time discussing it. I don't know what our timestamp is at. But
50 minutes.
Oh,
we're setting records today.
Yeah, well, we are on video. So in that episode, you said Outer Wilds.
Yes,
was one that you really wanted. I know we've rated that one since then. Looking on Google, unfortunately, there's no talk of there being a sequel for that.
No,
now.
they've sunset it completely.
Yeah.
No, I was aware of that.
I mean, as much as like gaming companies, I think sunset them, I think they work on other projects, but there's always a possibility they'll bring it back out from the fold eventually. I mean, look what they're doing now. There's another Dragon's Age on the way, another Fable on the way. They do have the capacity to bring them back out, or another company purchases it and redoes it. Because I'm pretty sure Baldur's Gate 2 was done by BioWare, and now it's gone to this other company that did Baldur's Gate 3. So it can move around. Yeah.
I wouldn't play Outer Wilds if it wasn't done by Mobius Digital though.
I mean,
and they did bring out a DLC, so I don't know if you want to call that a sequel. It wasn't, but DLC was just as good as the base game.
Right.
And I'm always crapping on about how I would prefer a product that is one and done so well, and that's it.
Yeah.
Rather than string it out
fake,
for 14 Ant-Man Marvel fucking cinema movies.
You haven't seen those movies. You can't pass that criticism.
But you know what I mean?
I know what
so
you mean.
I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, obviously I'm upset that game's never going to be, never going to have a sequel. But at the same time, like,
at the outset of that, I would never play it if it wasn't done by Mobius Digital. I mean, I would argue to go, look, if the game's good, I don't really care who develops it. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah, but like that game is so special to me. I wouldn't want to play a new rendition of it that'll spoil it.
Right.
And the only people I trust, based on what they showed me in their first version of that game, was so solid that I just trust them to do it well again.
Fair.
And I don't. It's kind of like when Disney took over Star Wars. Who regrets that? Everyone?
Everyone does. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's, let's not talk about that.
Yeah. What was yours?
So, the other game you mentioned was Sekiro.
Yes.
Which also, by the sounds of it, they did the Elden Ring DLC, so it may now come back into the conversation, because I think a lot of people were saying From Software is working on other titles, and that one is a maybe one day, who knows. So a lot of the common answers you get for these ones. So Days Gone is one that tend to be rather high up people's lists.
Yeah, I'd say
I've played it. I really enjoyed it. It got a lot of criticism when it launched, but it doesn't really deserve it. I think I've mentioned previously on this pod, it does a lot of zombie work really well in a video game, and to sort of that mass zombie crowd sort of stuff, the satisfaction of ripping through them is good.
Yeah.
It's on PC, by the way. Bloodborne.
Master Race.
Yeah, Bloodborne.
That's a PC joke, by the way.
Have to specify.
Not a politically...
Moving on. Politically correct one. Bloodborne is one that is sitting there looking at me in the face, and I will play, is not on PC though. Sorry,
no.
Sorry. Although it
was one of the first ones I searched. Fucking Sony's still clutching it to its chest.
There's a workaround I think you can do of if you sign up to Sony's online blah blah blah, you can possibly somehow get it on PC. I didn't quite follow
but you know what,
logic.
Sony?
Whoa.
I've gone this far without doing Sony things.
Sony, I'm not... Don't put me in the same bracket as this guy. I like Sony. You make great games. Sponsor us. Half-Life 3, of course.
Yes. Yes, huge.
That one is an obvious one. And there's always whispers for it. I think we've mentioned it in the pod before, but I mean, you've done 1, 2. Alexa came out, which was a VR one. Apparently really good. Would like to play. So that one would probably be my pick. And I'd said before, Half-Life 1 was probably the thing that got me into gaming as a wee lad. Mass Effect 4 would be one on my list, because it's another one that I have such a love for. And I don't know if it's a nostalgic kind of those kind of things where you go, I love this game as a kid. You replay it later on in life.
Is what it was back then.
Yeah, exactly.
What it would be today again. Yeah,
and
exactly.
I've been pushing Kyle to play it. I keep mentioning it. Kyle, you better play it. You should play it because it's also on PC. And they've done a legendary version, but I've now even got an M onto it, and M's playing it. And she's enjoying it. So, and they've announced it, but I hope Dragon Age The Veilguard, which is coming out soon, does really well, because that's done by BioWare. And if they kill that, that'll give them probably a bit of support to go on and do Mass Effect. If it bombs hard, I think BioWare, because they've had a lot of misses recently. Anthem was one of theirs that missed. I don't know if they'll sort of keep going around, but Mass Effect, I keep saying it's ripe to be made into a TV show. It's a fantastic gaming series. The sequel for that has been announced. They will do that after Dragon Age, I think. Yeah. So I'm fucking dead keen on that.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you have any sequel games in mind?
Not outside of the ones you just mentioned, my man.
No other ones?
I nailed it.
All right. Okay. Nice. Thanks for the write-in. I hope we've done a great job of answering that question.
You fucking mentioned like a dozen there. How am I meant to back that up?
Well, I did
anyway,
two.
here's 10. What do you think? Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, we always, we mentioned mine as well.
Yeah.
Outer Wilds.
It still surprised me. I know we mentioned on the pod before of how many games I've played that you haven't and that you've played that I haven't. And the crossover is pretty few and far between at the best of times. You sort of got Apex as a bit of a cornerstone, but a lot of the other games we play, we tend not to overlap each other
which
at
I like.
all. I mean, Elden Ring.
That's why this works. We bring different things
I
to the
know.
table.
It's like yin and yang.
Yep.
Who's the yang?
I don't think it matters. Why is the yang? Is the yang the
well,
white
you're
one?
wearing Naruto and a cat on your shirt, so we're going to call you the yang.
Okay.
Is that politically correct? I don't know.
Does that mean I'm just a sigma?
Well, I don't know if I'm yin, but anyway.
Anyway, we have complementing energies. Very nice. Anyway, thank you for listening. Follow, like,
subscribe, email.
info@theeveninggamer.com.au.
Yeah.
We have a website. We're working on it all the time. Theeveninggamer.com.au.
One of us is.
It's amazing. Our URL domain is consistent, so search for us anywhere.
Nice. That's really good. And this will we do the whole episode on YouTube, or we'll clip this and put sections on Insta?
Ooh, let's take that offline.
All right, deal.
But things are coming.
Nice.
Don't be an NPC.
Keep leveling up.
Thanks, everyone.